Namaste, friends. My name is Heather Wiest from Love Serve Inspire, and I'm going to be guiding you today through an all-level slow flow entitled Happy Hips and Hamstrings. If you have yoga blocks available to you or yoga props, I would suggest 2 blocks or thick books, a strap with a loop in it for the ball of the foot, and a blanket. If you do not have yoga props, a bath or beach towel will work great, and again, 2 thick books for blocks. I am here to guide you, but you are always your best teacher. So listen to your body, stay safe, and have fun. We're going to begin on our backs in constructive rest pose. So we're going to go ahead and come on down. You're going to place a bend into the knees. You're going to roll on down. You're going to have your strap nearby for after we're done with this posture. We're going to go ahead and bring the feet a little bit wider than hip-width distance apart, and you're going to knock the knees in. We're going to go ahead and bring our hands onto the lower ribs, and you're going to have your middle fingers touching. We're going to take a nice deep inhale in and let it go through the mouth. Another deep inhale in and exhale out. Settling into your space and your practice, and just continuing with the fullness of your breath, allowing the breath to fill up through the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And then as you exhale now through the nose, from the chest, ribs, and belly. Notice as you fill up through the belly, those middle fingers separate a little bit. And then as you exhale, those fingers join back together. I'm going to offer an acronym for our practice today. It's BRNC, brink. Sometimes when we feel like we're on the brink or on that edge, it brings us back. B standing for our breath. R, relaxing the body. N for notice. Notice how the body, the mind, and the spirit are showing up today. And then C for choose. Choosing an intention for your practice. Could be a positive affirmation, could be a prayer, or a deep heart longing. Taking a moment here to set an intention for your practice. I'm going to offer a collective intention today. I completely relinquish control. I sweetly surrender. I completely relinquish control. I sweetly surrender. Noticing 3 more full rounds of breath here. Staying breath connected throughout your entire practice today. And then we're gently going to release the hands out to the sides. We're going to bring the knees about hip-width distance apart now. If you have a strap or that towel, you're going to go ahead and bring that right foot up to the sky. You're going to bring the strap around the ball of the foot or wrap the towel around it. The strap is going to dangle down. You're going to rest your arms on the mat, and we're going to begin to get a nice hamstring opening for that right leg. Feel free to bend that right knee as much as you need to. If the lower back is healthy and things are doing well here, you have the option of extending that left leg straight ahead. And we want to have a nice flex into the feet, so toes towards the nose. And you want to press both tops of the thighs towards their hamstrings. So as we engage the hamstring and stretch at the same time, we have less risk of doing any injury to that hamstring. So keeping the legs nice and engaged, holding here for another breath. So Supta Padangustasana 1 variation here, opening up through that muscle that gets tight so easy. And then we're going to come into the second variation of Supta Padangustasana. So we're going to externally rotate at the top of the right thigh. The right toes angle towards the right side of the room. And then you're going to go ahead and bring that leg halfway down, no farther than that. I want you to keep that left thigh and hip rooted and planted into your mat. You can even take that left hand to the hip crease, just reminding yourself to keep a happy sacrum, keeping those SI joints nice and level and they're not being strained in any way. About 3 more full breaths here. Softening through the face and the jaw. We're going to inhale that right leg back up to center. We're going to come into the third variation here, modified. We're going to take that right leg halfway over to the left. We're going to find a nice stretch for the outside of the right leg through the IT band that runs from the knee all the way wrapping around into the glute. So you should feel a beautiful stretch here. You can release that right arm out to the side. And if you don't feel much, you can go ahead and bring those right toes a little bit more towards your face and see if you feel stretch here. About 3 more full breaths, always a really nice one to open up through that right outer leg and the beginning of the outer hip. One more full breath. We're going to inhale that right leg back up to the sky. We're going to place the bend into the right knee. You're going to release the loop from the ball of the foot. You're going to hug both knees into the chest. You can rock a little onto the lower back, massaging. And we're going to take that all to the other side. So again, we'll start with the feet planted into the mat. We'll take the left foot to the sky. We're going to go ahead and loop it with the strap or the towel if you're using a towel. Just making sure the arms and shoulders are relaxed as they're resting on the mat. Beautiful. You're going to go ahead and have a nice flex into that left foot. If things are going well, extending the right leg forward. Again, a flex in that foot. You can always bend into that left knee if you're really tight in the back of the leg. And just breathe into the opening here, pressing both tops of the thighs towards their hamstrings, really engaging your legs here while we're stretching. A few more full breaths in Supta Padangustasana 1. From here, we're going to take the external rotation, the very top of that left thigh, angling the toes towards the left, and then taking the leg halfway to the left. And we want to keep that right thigh and hip planted into the mat, protecting our low back. So finding the stretch into the inner thighs here, the outer hip, really using that nice strength of the arm holding you up here with that strap. A couple more breaths here. Inhaling that leg back to center. Taking it halfway over to the right now. Finding the IT band stretch from the knee all the way up into that glute. Finding that sweet spot for you. And just holding here for a few more breaths. Let it feel good. Resting the arms on the mat, relaxing through the neck and the shoulders. Allowing your inhalations and your exhalations to be full. Maybe transitioning into your Ujjayi pranayama, that slight constriction to the back of the throat where you can audibly hear your breath like an ocean wave coming in and out of shore. One more deep, full breath. And we'll inhale that left leg back to center, bend into the left knee, release your strap, place it off to the side or your towel, hugging the knees into the chest. Once again, rocking a little side to side on the lower back. We're going to take some row your boat knee circles. So we're going to go ahead and bring the hands to the tops of the kneecaps. The feet are going to try to stay joined together. I'm just going to circle my legs outward, getting a little bit movement into the hip joint, creating some synovial fluid. So taking 3 circles in one direction, and then you'll reverse your rotations. 3 rounds here with your breath. And then hugging the knees back in, wrapping the hands around the shins. We're going to go ahead and bring that forehead towards the knees, Apanasana, getting a nice stretch for the spine. And then we're going to go ahead and rock up to seated. If you need to transition onto your side, feel free to do so. We're going to come into hands and knees, tabletop position. Finding your tabletop position, we want to make sure that the shoulders are over the wrist. You have the hips over the knees. We're going to come into our cow and cat shape here. We're going to inhale, bringing the head and the heart forward. And then exhale, drawing the navel to spine and rounding through the upper back. Continuing with your breath here. Full inhalation as you gaze up, heart forward. Exhale, rounding in. Now 3 more full rounds here. Inhalation as you look up. And exhale. Feel free to add any additional movement that you like here. You can wag the hips side to side. You can take some big hip circles. Your choice. Do what feels good in your body today. And then we're going to find our neutral tabletop position. We're going to take the right toes back on the mat. You get a nice flex into the foot. The frontal hip points lift. So you're getting a nice stretch through the Achilles, through the foot, and even through the top of that front leg, the right leg. You can relax the head and neck here. We're going to take the right foot now and cross it over the left foot. You're going to root more into the right hand, and you're going to gaze over that left shoulder. Feel a really nice stretch all along the right side of the body. We're going to go ahead and inhale, bringing the right toes back and the right knee to the mat. Taking that to the other side. We're going to take the left toes back on the mat. Get a nice stretch here as you flex through the foot. The frontal hip points lift, so you're beginning to engage the core, protecting your low back. Relaxing through the head and neck. We're going to go ahead and cross that left foot over the right, rooting more into the left hand. You're going to gaze over that right shoulder. Get a nice stretch all along the left side of the body. We're going to go ahead and bring that left leg back, the left knee down. We're going to come up onto our knees. If you have any, if you need a blanket underneath the knees, feel free to grab it. We're going to come into gate pose. We're going to take the right leg out to the side. We're going to go ahead and inhale the arms up and overhead. As you exhale, the right hand is going to lightly touch that right leg, left arm to the sky. So get a nice, beautiful stretch through the left side here. Nice deep inhale and full exhale. We're going to take the counter pose here, a modified half moon. So that left hand is going to come right under the shoulder, right arm to the sky. We're going to take the right foot up, the legs extended. You're going to feel a nice warming sensation in that outer hip, lengthening the tailbone towards that right heel. Beautiful. And if you'd like, I'm going to give you the option here of bending into that right knee. You can stay here, or you can reach that right hand back for the foot or the ankle. And you're going to go ahead and push that leg into the hand. Get a nice stretch for the front of the thigh. We're going to gently release that if you have it. The leg extends, and we're going to return back to our gate pose. Taking that to the other side. The right knee will come in. The left leg will come out. We'll inhale the arms up. Exhale, the left hand will lightly touch the left leg, right arm to the sky. Beautiful stretch here for the right side. Another deep breath. We're going to go ahead and take the counter pose of this modified half moon. So the right hand will come down right underneath that shoulder. The left leg will extend, left arm to the sky. You're lengthening the tailbone towards that left heel, engaging the lower belly, softening through the shoulders. I'm going to give you the option here of bending into that left knee. You can reach back with the hand. You're going to go ahead and find that foot into the ankle, or the hand into the ankle and the foot, just pushing in, getting a nice opening through the front of the thigh. One more full breath. Getting a nice, beautiful warming of that gluteus medius, that outer hip. We're going to go ahead and extend the leg back. We'll bring the foot to the mat, back up to gate pose, and then bringing the knee back in. Finding your tabletop, we're going to take shoulder thread the needle, opening up through the shoulders a little bit more. We're going to start with the left hand out to the side. We're going to thread it through the right, the left cheek, ear, or temple to the mat. We're going to start with that right arm a little more extended forward, relaxing through the shoulders here. I'm going to give you the option of wrapping the right hand behind the waist now, behind the back. And I really want you to draw the right shoulder head back a little bit more, retracting the shoulder blade towards the spine and getting a nice opening through the chest and the pec muscles. One more full breath. You're going to release the arm back down, bring the right hand underneath the shoulder. We'll inhale back up. We'll take that to the other side. Right arm out to the side, thread it through the left, right cheek, ear, temple to the mat. Left arm extends forward, relaxing through that left shoulder. Option to take the left hand behind the back, wrapping around the waist, and drawing that left shoulder head back a little bit more, retracting the shoulder blade onto the spine, towards the spine, and opening up a little bit more through the pec and shoulder or chest muscles. We're going to go ahead and gently release the hand back down underneath the shoulder. Inhale back up, taking puppy dog pose from here. The hips are going to stay high over the knees. Both arms are going to come forward. The head's going to come down towards the mat. If it doesn't reach towards the mat, you can put your head on that towel or block. Really pressing into the hands. Opening up through the upper back. The arms are engaged. One more full breath. We're going to inhale back up. We're going to draw the hands back a few inches, preparing for downward facing dog. We're going to tuck the toes under. As you exhale, the hips will come up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Pushing the hands down and away. Tops of the thighs are pressing back and up. Relax the head and the neck, and those front ribs hug in, stabilizing through the torso. We're going to place a nice bend into that left knee, and you're going to ground that right heel to the mat. 3 full breaths here. Feel that nice stretch into the right leg. And then we're going to switch that. We're going to draw the left heel towards the mat, a generous bend into the right knee. 3 full breaths. Feel the beautiful stretch in your left leg. Grounding both heels now towards the mat. We're going to come up onto the balls of the feet. We're going to swivel the heels over to the right corner of the mat. Place a generous bend into the right knee and feel a nice stretch in the outer left leg. Coming back to center onto the balls of the feet, swiveling the heels over to the left corner of the mat. A generous bend into the left knee and feel that nice stretch in the right outer leg. Coming back to the balls of the feet, bringing the heels towards the mat, downward facing dog. A generous bend into both knees, bear pose. Trying to draw the belly towards those quads, the upper thighs. We're going to gaze forward. We're going to inhale into plank pose. Strong plank, pushing away, and then exhale, downward facing dog. So dynamic bear pose, bending into both knees, gazing forward, inhale into plank, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Take a nice deep inhale. Last time, exhale, bend into the knees, bear pose. Inhale into plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. So good. We're going to elephant walk towards the top of the mat, which means we're going to try to walk on the heels. So get that nice stretch for the back of the calves and the backs of the legs, taking your time, walking on those heels, and then coming into a ragdoll forward fold, clasping opposite elbows, relaxing the head. You can sway here side to side, a generous bend into both knees. Let everything go. We're going to interlace the hands behind the back. You're going to draw the shoulders away from the ears. Let the crown of the head release down towards the mat. We're going to place more of a bend into that right knee and draw that right shoulder head towards that knee. And then if you can, you're going to gaze to the left side, maybe towards that left armpit. And then we're going to go ahead and switch that. We're going to place a generous bend into the left knee. The left shoulder head will reach towards the knee, and then you can gaze towards that right shoulder or armpit. And then we'll go ahead and release back to center, bringing the hands to the mat. A bend into the knees, hands to the hips on the next inhale with a flat back. Come up to standing. All right, so from here, we're going to grab our blocks, or if you have thick books, we're going to stand on our blocks for our half sun salutations. This will really help to open up through our hamstrings. So find the blocks at whatever width works for your body. And then we're going to go ahead and stand on the blocks to where your feet are central on the blocks. And finding a nice Tadasana mountain pose. Maybe you rock your feet back and forth, just finding your center. Tailbone lengthens down. Front ribs are hugging in. The shoulders are drawing back and they're relaxed. find a point of focus for yourself, and we'll come into our half sun salutations. We'll inhale the arms up and overhead, gaze to where it's comfortable. Exhale, fold at the hip crease, leading with the heart as you exhale all the way down. Inhaling for your half lift, hands to the outsides of the shins so you don't hyperextend. And then exhale, forward fold. Root through the feet, sweep the arms strongly to the sides, up and overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center, those front ribs hug in. 2 more full rounds. Inhaling up. Exhale, lead with the heart, fold at the hip crease, tops of the thighs, press back. Inhaling for your half lift, really turn on those legs, those quads. And then exhale, forward fold. Root through the feet, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. 1 more full round. Inhaling up, Urdhva Hasta. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Root through the feet, sweeping the arms all the way up. Urdhva Hasta in Tadasana. Exhale, hands to heart. Front ribs draw in. Samasti Tihi. Beautiful. We'll release the hands down to the sides. We're going to come off of the blocks. You'll keep your blocks towards the top of the mat. We're going to be doing 3 rounds of Sun Salutation A. I'll be cueing stepping back for the first 2 rounds and then jumping back for the 3rd round. If that's not in your practice, feel free to just step back. Finding Tadasana. We'll inhale the arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling for that half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, bend the knees. We'll take that right leg back, followed by the left. You're in plank pose. Can drop to the knees if you need to here. We're going to exhale through Chaturanga. For the first round, we'll come onto the belly for low cobra. Releasing the tops of the feet, push through the tops of the feet, engage the legs, elbows in low cobra. Exhale, back down. Tuck the toes. You can lift through your half or full plank. Exhale, tops of the thighs, draw you back, downward facing dog. We're going to take that left foot up between the hands, followed by the right. Inhaling, half lift, and exhale, fold. Root through the feet, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Second side. Inhaling up. Exhale, lead with that heart, tops of the thighs, press back, forward fold. Inhaling, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, bend the knees, left leg back this time, followed by the right. You're in your plank pose. Exhaling through Chaturanga, elbows hug in. Inhaling, upward facing dog or low cobra. Transitioning through plank if you're in low cobra. We'll all exhale, downward facing dog. That right foot will come up between the hands, followed by the left. Inhaling for the half lift, and exhale, fold. Root to the feet, sweep the arms strongly to the sides, up and overhead. Exhale, hands to heart, front ribs hug in. 3rd round, inhaling up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling for the half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, gaze forward. I'm going to jump back. You can step back. Chaturanga. Inhaling upward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Full deep inhale and exhale. Another deep inhale. And exhale. We're going to float the right leg up and back, three-legged downward facing dog. Both hip points are pointing towards the mat. We're in a neutral position. That right foot is flexed. I'm going to have you place a bend into the right knee. Again, the hips are staying neutral here. And you're going to try to reach that knee a little bit higher to the sky, really getting a nice opening there into both legs. Now we're going to open up that hip. So you're going to reach the right foot towards the glute. The right knee kind of comes out to the side, and you're stabilizing through your shoulders, really rooting the hands into the mat. Now see if you can bring that right knee a little bit higher to the sky. One more full breath. We're going to go ahead and unbend that right knee. Bring the foot back into a neutral position, the toes pointing towards the mat. And then we're going to go ahead and exhale, bring that knee in towards the nose, hold it, and then bring that right foot between the hands. Low lunge. Feel free to grab your blocks or books here if you need them. We're going to take a dynamic low lunge. So we're going to go ahead and inhale, flex through that right foot. And then exhale, bend into that knee. Inhale, flex through the right foot, straighten through the leg. Exhale, bend into the knee. Getting a nice stretch for the inner thighs, the outer hips. One more full round. Inhale. And exhale. Gently releasing the left knee to the mat, and feel free to use a blanket if you need to. We're going to take a low lunge lizard. We're going to bring both blocks on the inside of that right foot. And I'm going to bring the hands to the blocks with the option of just drawing that left leg back a little bit more. We want to be mindful of the front leg. Keeping that knee over your ankle will just help protect it over time. And then if you'd like, I'm going to give you a few options here. You can come down onto the forearms for a deeper stretch. I'm also going to offer crooked monkey today as an option. So if you'd like to take that option, or feel free to stay right where we're at, you can go ahead and come onto the blade of that right foot so the hip opens up a little bit more. And then from here, there's that option of bending into the left knee. So sometimes you got to work here to see how the hamstring is feeling. If things are going well, you can point or flex that back foot. You can take that right arm back, reach back for the foot or the ankle, drawing the heel closer in to that left glute. So nice opening here. And we're going to work through the opening of the chest and the shoulders. So like we cued before, that right shoulder head draws back, so that shoulder blade is retracting towards the spine, and you're opening up a little bit more through the pec and the chest. You can take the gaze where it's comfortable. One more full breath wherever you're at. And then we're gently going to release the back leg if you have it. Bring the hand back to the block and draw that right foot towards the mat. We're going to come up onto the hands if you're down on the forearms, and we're going to transition into half split, Ardha Hanuman. We're going to grab our blocks, bring them on each side of the hip on the highest level, or your books. A nice flex into that right foot, a little micro bend into the knee. We're going to take a nice deep inhale, pitch forward so you have a nice space here between the pelvis and the thigh, and you're getting a strong stretch through that right hamstring. Now I want you to imagine a mustard seed underneath the heel, and you're really digging that heel into the mat, trying to bury that mustard seed. And as you do that, energetically that heel draws back towards the glute, getting a little more stretch and a little more extension through the spine. One more full breath here. We'll go ahead and inhale up. We're going to go ahead and float that right foot a couple inches off of the mat, just getting some strength work here for the hip flexor. One more full breath, you got this. And then bring the heel gently back to the mat. We'll place a bend into the knee. The blocks will come towards the sides of the mat to the top. You're going to lift the left knee off the mat. You're in low lunge. We'll come back into three-legged downward facing dog. The right leg will come up to the sky, and then release the right foot to the mat, downward facing dog. We're going to work through an Ardha Vinyasa, a little flow. So inhaling into plank, you can always drop to the knees. Exhale through Chaturanga, elbows draw in. Inhaling low cobra, upward facing dog, strong legs. And then transitioning through plank if you're in cobra. And then everybody downward facing dog. And deep inhale here. And exhale. Your next inhale, we're going to float the left leg up to the sky. You have the nice neutral hips here. You're hugging in with that right thigh and hip. We're going to place the bend into that left knee, and you're going to try to reach that left foot to the sky, just getting a little more opening and stretch. And then we'll bring that left foot towards the glutes, open up through the hip. The knee will come out to the side. You're stabilizing through those shoulders on the mat, rooting into the hands. And then see if you can take that left knee a little bit more to the sky. Open, open, open. And then we'll return back to neutral positioning of our three-legged downward facing dog. Toes are facing towards the mat. We're going to go ahead and exhale. Bring that knee in towards the nose. Hold it. And then that left foot up between the hands. Low lunge. Finding your blocks again if you need them. We're going to take that dynamic low lunge. So we're going to go ahead and inhale, straighten through the left leg, flex through the foot. And then exhale, bend into the knee. 2 more rounds, inhaling. And exhaling. 1 more. Gently releasing the right knee to the mat. Untucking the toes to relax that back leg. Bringing both blocks on the inside of the left foot. So starting out in low lunge lizard. Extending that right leg back a little bit more, opening up through the hip flexor. You have a nice bend into the knee, and the knee is right over your ankle to protect the leg over time. Option to stay up on the hands. You can come down onto the forearms, and then I'll be guiding into that crooked monkey variation. So again, feel free to stay exactly how you are right now. We're going to come onto the blade of that left foot. You're opening up through that hip a little bit more. Again, if you don't need the blocks, you can bring the forearm directly to the mat. We're going to go ahead and bend into the right knee. You can flex or point that foot. That left arm's going to come back, reaching for the foot or the ankle, drawing the foot closer to the glute. That left shoulder head is drawing the shoulder towards the spine, and you're opening up a little bit more through the chest and the pec muscles. 1 more full breath, feeling the beautiful stretch in that right quadricep. And then we're gently going to release that back leg. You're going to bring the left hand back towards the mat or the blocks. Coming back into your low lunge, lizard. And then coming back, the hands to the blocks. We'll transition into Ardha Hanuman, half split on this side. You have your blocks to the sides of the hip. Finding a nice, tall, upright spine. A flex into the left foot. We're going to take a nice deep inhale. You're pitching forward, a micro bend to the left knee. Feel that nice space between the pelvis and the thigh, and a nice stretch for that left hamstring. Again, imagine that mustard seed under the heel. You're trying to dig it into the ground. Energetically, that heel draws back towards the glute, just giving you a little more opening and lengthening through the spine. One more full breath. We'll inhale back up. We're going to hover that left foot. So we're going to go ahead and take the foot off of the mat. Get that nice engagement of the leg, strengthening through the hip flexor. And then release it back down. We'll go ahead and return to our low lunge, blocks to the top of the mat. You're going to release the right knee off the mat. We're going to come into three-legged downward facing dog. Left leg will come to the sky. And then we'll bring that left foot to the mat. Nice deep inhale and exhale. Taking an Ardha Vinyasa here, inhaling into plank pose. Always an option to come to the knees. Exhale through Chaturanga. Inhaling, low cobra, upward facing dog. Strong legs, heart forward. Transitioning through plank if you're in low cobra. Everybody meeting in downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Beautiful. From here, we're going to bend into the knees. You're going to gaze forward. You're going to step or float to the top of the mat. Inhaling for your half lift. Exhale, fold. Root through the feet, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Adding on here, Utkatasana, fierce pose. It's like you're sitting in a chair. The arms extend to the sky. The shins will shift back in space, and then the frontal hip points lift. Find that space. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhaling for the half lift. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands. We're going to take the right leg back. Seal the back foot about a 45-degree angle. We'll be preparing for Warrior One slowly here. So really rooted through both feet. Left thigh is drawing back and in. Take the hands a couple inches off of the mat. Feel that space between the pelvis and the thigh. And then inhaling the arms up and overhead. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior One. You have a nice bend into the front knee. That back leg, you're feeling comfortable here, so always adjust that foot to help the knee feel comfortable. Lifting through the inner arches. Front ribs are hugging in. Strong arms, strong body. We're going to be taking a fun transition here. We're going to be pivoting on our heels, opening up to Warrior Two, facing the back of the mat. So I'm going to go ahead and just come up onto the heels. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to take Warrior Two towards the back of the mat. Adjust your stance as you need to here. Find your solid Warrior Two. We're going to go ahead and bring the palms towards the ceiling or the sky. You're going to draw the shoulder heads back a little bit more. And then bring the palms back down. You're going to look at that right knee, making sure it's nice and bent and that knee is tracking over the second toe. You're rooted through both feet strongly. That tailbone lengthens down. Right thigh wraps down and under, and the left leg pushes back. Energetically, the heels draw into midline, engaging the inner thighs, the adductors. Beautiful. We're going to flip the front palm. We're going to lightly touch the back thigh for reverse warrior. Still a generous bend into the front knee. Viparita Virabhadrasana. One more full breath, really lengthening through the right side body. And then inhaling back to Warrior Two. We're going to take side angle pose, Parsva Konasana. So you can lightly rest the arm on the thigh, or you can reach the hand down towards the mat or a block. Left arm extends to the sky. And we're going to offer a half wrap variation here. So we'll take that left hand behind the back, tuck it into the waist. Again, that shoulder head draws back. Feel the shoulder blade retract towards the spine. More opening through your chest and shoulders. Feel free to take the bind here. We're going to hold for a couple more breaths. So that right hand would come underneath the right thigh. Right hand would hook the hand or the left wrist. And then find a nice twist here. Deep inhale. Exhale, open. We're going to release the right hand back down. Left hand to the sky. Straightening through the front leg for Trikonasana. You can adjust the hand to the shin, a little micro bend into the right knee. And just feel a little bit of that right thigh and hip drawing back towards that left heel, just allowing that pelvis to reach a little bit more forward, creating space in the lower back. Relaxing that right shoulder away from the ears. Then we're going to reverse our warrior or triangle. So we'll go ahead and take the right hand to the sky. Strong, straight legs. Get a nice little break here. And then inhaling back to warrior two. We're going to be preparing for half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana, adding Shavasana in as a variation with that bent top leg. So feel free to grab a block here if needed to bring to the front of the mat, and then finding your warrior two. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to shift back on my mat here just to create a little more space. I'm going to shift and lift coming into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Classically, the hand reaches towards the mat or a block, left hand to the sky. I'm going to go ahead and take my right hand off, floating my half moon here. And I'm really engaging that top leg, a nice flex into the foot, lengthening my tailbone towards that heel. And I'm going to try to take the Shavasana variation. I'm going to bend into that left knee. That left hand is going to reach for the ankle or the foot. You can always use a strap here if you'd like. And really draw that ankle into the hand, getting a nice little stretch here. Beautiful variation for our Ardha Chandrasana. One more full breath. Gently releasing the top leg if you have it. Finding your half moon, bending into the front knee, returning to warrior two. Nice job. We're going to straighten through the legs now. We're going to go ahead and take a nice forward fold. Both toes are facing forward. We're going to bring the hands on the hips. We're going to come into Prasarita Padottanasana, a variation, with the option of taking a tripod headstand. So if that is in your practice already, feel free to take that as we hold the forward fold. Taking a nice deep inhale in. Exhale, coming on down. Hands reach towards the mat or blocks. You can adjust your stance here. If you'd like, you can reach the hands even behind you, fingertips away from you, and relax the head and neck. I am going to take that headstand variation. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my hands down for tripod. The head's going to come down to the mat, hugging those elbows in. I'm going to go ahead and slow and controlled pike up. Slow and steady. Lifting the legs away, less pressure in the head. If you're in the forward fold, deep full breaths. If you're in headstand, you're going to go ahead slow and controlled. Come back the way you came. Try to reach the feet slow and controlled to the mat. And then inhale back up. Nice job, everybody. We're going to go ahead and inhale, returning to standing. We're going to take warrior two back towards the top of our mat. Focusing over that middle finger. We're going to cartwheel the hands to the mat now. We're going to take that dynamic low lunge stretch. So we're going to go ahead and inhale, straighten through that front leg. Exhale, bend into the knee. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. One more inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. We're gently going to release the right knee to the mat. We're going to come either back into that half split or taking full Hanumanasana. So I would encourage you to have a block or a blanket for underneath that thigh for your full split variation if needed, just to keep the integrity of the posture. So again, you can come into that half split variation. The left leg will flex. You can use your blocks here. If you're transitioning into full Hanuman, you can always use that blanket in front of the mat to help you with the heel. I like to keep my back toes tucked. It helps keep my pelvis forward and neutral. I'm going to bring that block underneath my left hamstring just to provide a little bit more support and integrity to the posture. I have a flex into that front foot, my back toes are tucked, and my hips are remaining neutral here. Nice upright spine. We're going to take a few breaths here. Whatever variation you're in is great for you today. Happy hips and hamstrings. 2 more full breaths. If you're in full split, I'm going to challenge you to really use the strength of the core to lift that front leg back into low lunge, and we're going to transition back to 3-legged downward facing dog. So you're going to go ahead and really lift up, use that core. There you go. Bring the block back if you have it. Release the back knee off of the mat. 3-legged downward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. Taking an Ardha Vinyasa, inhaling into plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling, low cobra, upward facing dog, strong legs. Transitioning through plank if you're in low cobra. Exhale, everyone. Downward facing dog. Nice deep inhale. And exhale. Next inhale, we're going to float the right leg up and back, 3-legged dog. I'm just going to switch on my mat here so that you'll be able to see me. So right leg up and back, 3-legged downward facing dog. We're going to go ahead and take that right foot up between the hands, low lunge. Sealing the back foot down, we're going to inhale the arms slowly up into warrior 1. So releasing the hands a couple inches off the mat. You're rooted through both feet. Inhaling up, Virabhadrasana 1. Now bend into the front knee. Back leg is really engaged and strong. Strong arms. Lengthening the tailbone down, creating more space between the pelvis and the thigh. 1 more full breath, and we're going to do that fun transition of just pivoting on the heels, taking warrior 2 towards the back of the mat. So we're going to go ahead and pivot up. We're going to find that warrior 2. Really settling into a strong Virabhadrasana 2. You have a nice bend into the front knee. You're gazing down. That knee is right over your second toe. Rooting through both legs. Those heels energetically are scrubbing together, using those inner thighs, the adductors. And that left thigh is drawing down and under, and the back leg is pressing back. Relaxing here. Maybe you want to take the palms up again to the sky. Draw the shoulder heads back and then the palms back down. 1 more breath. Long holds build strength and endurance and focus in our body. We're going to flip the front palm. Exhale, lightly reaching towards the back leg, left arm to the sky. Peaceful warrior. Viparita Virabhadrasana. Inhaling back to warrior 2. Taking our side angle pose. You can lightly rest that arm to the thigh, right arm to the sky, or you can take the hand down by that left foot or a block. I'm going to guide you into the half wrap option of drawing that right hand behind the back. Right shoulder head draws back. Shoulder blades retracting towards the spine, opening up through that chest. Option to take the full bind. Left hand reaches down, reaches for that right wrist or hand. Opening up through the chest. Couple more breaths. Releasing the bind. Right arm to the sky. We're going to go ahead and straighten through the front leg for triangle pose. Hand can be on a block, can be on the shin. Slight bend into that left knee. And here, see if you can draw that left thigh and hip back towards that right heel, just allowing a little bit more opening through the lower back as that right pelvis draws forward. Softening through the shoulders. We're going to go ahead and reverse our triangle. Keep the strong straight legs, windmilling the arms back, left arm to the sky. Inhaling back to Virabhadrasana 2. This is where we're going to prepare for the half moon pose with a Chapasana variation. So feel free to grab a block for that mat. I'm going to adjust myself back so I have a little more space. So from Warrior 2, I'm going to be shifting and lifting, finding that right leg up. At first, you can start by grounding into the mat, into a block. I'm going to try to float here, challenging the length of my side bodies and my core, and having to use the wall, which is totally fine. It's a practice, not a perfect. That right foot is really flexed. Gaze can be where it's comfortable. You can look towards the right or just stay towards the mat for focus. I'm going to bend into the right knee, reaching back for the foot or ankle maybe. Really drawing that leg back a little bit more for opening. Beautiful job, everyone, wherever you're at. Little micro bend into that left knee, protecting that joint. And then we'll gently release Chapasana into Ardha Chandrasana. Bend into the front knee, reaching back, Warrior 2. So good. We'll straighten through that front leg. We're going to go ahead and take a forward fold. We're going to take Prasarita Padottanasana C variation. Hands will come behind the back. We're going to take a nice deep inhale, really lengthen forward, coming down, lifting the hands away from the spine if it's in your practice today. And then relax the crown of the head towards the mat. Just a nice opening here for our chest and shoulders, for the inner thighs, the adductors. Bringing the weight, they say, a little bit more into the balls of the feet, but you want to be balanced and secure here. 2 more deep full breaths. Then we'll go ahead and inhale, coming all the way up. And finding Warrior 2 towards the top of your mat. From here, we're going to cartwheel the hands to the mat. We're going to find that dynamic low lunge. So if you need your blocks, grab them. We're going to go inhale, flex through the foot. And then we'll bend into that knee, exhale. Inhale, straighten through the leg. Exhale, bend into the knee. 1 more inhale. And exhale. We're going to release the left knee to the mat. We're going to come either into the half split or full split variation here. All right. So again, if you want to take the full split, I would encourage you to have a block underneath that thigh and hip. You're going to keep those back toes tucked for integrity of the pose. I'm going to bring that block underneath my right thigh. There we go. Holding for 5 full breaths here. Getting a nice opening into the hip flexor of the left leg, hamstring of the right. If you're taking the half split option, it's perfect for you today. If you're in the full split variation, I'm going to challenge you to use the strength of the core to release that right heel off of the mat, coming into 3-legged dog. So we're going to go ahead and release back up into low lunge. From there, we'll take the 3-legged downward facing dog and then downward facing dog. Nice deep breath here. Inhaling into plank pose, Ardha Vinyasa. Exhale through Chaturanga, elbows hugging. Inhaling upward facing dog or low cobra. Transitioning through plank if you're in low cobra. We all meet in downward facing dog. Everybody's going to bring their knees to the mat, releasing down into child's pose. Knees as wide of the mat or knees together, whatever preference you have. Releasing the arms forward, releasing the head down. Full deep breaths. Breathe, relax, notice, and choose. Recalling the intention you've set for your practice. Our collective intention, I completely relinquish control. I sweetly surrender. One more full breath. So from here, we're going to return up into tabletop position. There's going to be a couple of options here. We're going to be working into single pigeon, into king pigeon or mermaid as an option. If that's not in your practice today, I'm going to offer a 90-90 or a Z-sit as an option for that. If you have any knee issues of any kind and single pigeon doesn't feel good, then that would be the option for you today. So for the Z-sit, we're going to start with the right leg forward for those of you that want to transition into single pigeon. Eka Pada Rajakapotasana. Feel free to take that. For the Z-sit, I'm just going to go ahead and come down onto that leg. That back leg will fold. And for Z-sit, some people like to fold just directly over that shin and calf. Others like to fold over the knee or the foot. You have to find what feels good for you for that right outer hip opening. You can always use blocks. Just find a comfortable spot to sit. You can always use a blanket under the thigh and hip to support you. For single pigeon, working into king pigeon or mermaid pose, we're going to go ahead and transition down, softening into pigeon. I like to have a flex in my front foot just to protect my knee a little bit more. I'm going to come on down, just opening up through that hip and then offering slow transition into king pigeon or mermaid pose. So a lot of hip and hamstrings here. This is particularly opening up our right hip and releasing that left hip flexor. So notice here where you're holding tension. Oftentimes when we open up through the hips, our tension creeps up into the neck, the shoulders, and the jaw. So really consciously releasing that tension, letting your head go. And you're welcome to stay into that 90-90 or Z-sit stretch or single pigeon here. I'm going to demo king pigeon or mermaid, and you're always welcome to use a strap as well if needed for this posture. So I find that in this pose, I have a lifting through the pelvic floor. I feel that hugging into midline and that lifting. I'm going to go ahead and tuck the back toes under, and then I'm going to bend into that back knee. I'm going to see how my hamstring is feeling. I'm going to bring the right hand to the center of my mat, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that left hand back, reaching for the inside of the foot or ankle. Just starting here, just seeing how that's feeling in my body. And if you have the range of motion, you're going to point through the foot, and you're going to hook the foot into the elbow crease. Now again, I have that lifting of the pelvic floor. I'm lifting up, I'm not completely on my mat. And then you're going to gaze forward, see how that feels for you, drawing the shoulder heads back. And then if you'd like the full variation, the right arm will come to the sky in internal rotation, reaching back and trying to hook the fingers of the hand. And then from here, as you're lifting through the pelvic floor, you can try to soften down in for a little bit more opening. Again, the hip points are trying to reach forward in the posture. Wherever you're at, holding for 2 more full breaths. And then you gently want to release out of this pose. So releasing the top hand first, grounding the right hand down, releasing the left leg back. So good. So from here, we're going to come into tabletop position. And then you have the option of taking a downward facing dog, just pedaling it out here, noticing the difference from right and left side. I'm going to turn around for the other side so that you can see me clearly. And then we'll return back to our tabletop, and we're going to take the left leg forward this time. So if you're coming into that 90-90 sit or Z-sit, you're going to find your legs. The left knee is bent in front, the right leg in the back. And then again, you can adjust where you're going forward to where it feels best in your body. And just play with that a little bit. And then if you're taking the full Eka Pada Rajakapotasana, pigeon pose, my shin never goes parallel to the mat. My body's just not made that way. And so I find a nice spot where my knee feels great. And I encourage you to do that as well. There shouldn't be any strong pain in the knee at all. So find that nice spot for you. And I have a flex in my foot just to protect my little knee a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and come on down, relaxing into my pigeon, opening up through the left outer hip and that right hip flexor. We've been opening up through these areas throughout our whole practice, coming into that peak pose of King Pigeon and Mermaid. A few more deep breaths here. Wherever you are at is perfect for you today. Honor your body in every way. Stay safe and have fun. I'm going to go ahead and inhale and demo the Mermaid Pose. So I'm going to start by taking my left hand to the center of my mat, and I'm going to bend into my right knee. I'm going to see how that's feeling for me today. And then I'm going to take my right hand back, reaching for the inside of the foot or the ankle. And then if I have the range of motion, you can stay here. I'm going to go ahead and hook my foot into my elbow crease, drawing the heel towards my glute a little bit more, getting a nice quad and hip flexor stretch. I'm going to gaze forward, and I'm going to really draw up through the pelvic floor, getting a nice lift as I'm hugging everything into midline. I'm going to take my left arm up, see how that's going today. Internally rotate and reach back for the fingertips. Ideally, the hips and the heart are forward, gazing forward, lifting up. Feel a beautiful stretch everywhere in the body. Such a beautiful expression of opening the heart and through the chest. Couple more breaths wherever you're at. I'm going to gently release the top arm, bring the hand to the mat. I'm going to gently release the back leg. Returning into tabletop, wherever you're at, and downward facing dog. Just pedaling it out here, anything that feels good. Noticing the opening in the body. Pushing the hands forward and down, tops of the thighs, pressing back and up, and those front ribs hugging in, stabilizing through the torso. We're going to bend into the knees. We're going to gaze forward. You're going to step or float to the top of the mat. Inhaling for your half lift, and exhale, forward fold. Roots of the feet coming into Utkatasana, fierce pose. Sitting down, chin shift back in space, frontal hip points lift. Inhale to the sky. Exhale, hand start. So good. From here, we're going to be coming into Malasana squat. If you need a blanket for behind the heels, it's a great way to support yourself if the heels are off of the mat. So we're going to find a nice little stance here. And we're going to go ahead and squat on down, Malasana squat, yogi squat. Again, if the heels lift up, find that blanket underneath the heels. It feels nice. Just holding here for 5 full breaths and giving you the variation of a little bit of a forward fold. So once you're here, you can reach the hands forward, grounding them down. Release the head down and feel a nice stretch along the spine and a release for the lower back. 3 more full breaths. We're going to draw the hands back. We're going to come down onto our bottoms. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together for Baddha Konasana. I'm going to give you two variations here. Classic Baddha Konasana, the heels draw in towards the midline. You have a nice upright spine. You can forward fold. I'm going to also give you a yin variation of putting the feet on the block. The feet are more in a diamond shape. You bring the feet to the block. You can release the arms underneath and then bow in with a rounded spine. So whatever option you would like today, we're taking 5 full breaths. We're going to go ahead and inhale on up, releasing. We're going to go ahead and come into Uttanasana Konasana, wide-legged forward fold. You're going to take your legs out to comfort. If you need to sit on the top of a mat for a little bit more support, you can always use your blocks in between here for support for the forearms. We're going to take a nice deep inhale, walk the fingertips forward, nice flex into the feet, finding your forward fold. And we're going to go ahead and inhale back up. We're going to go ahead and come into Paschimottanasana, straight-legged forward fold. So you're going to go ahead and come up onto the sit bones. We're going to take a nice deep inhale. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. You're going to reach forward, extended spine, wherever you can grab. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, fold in. Five full breaths. Inhale all the way up. We're going to prepare to come down onto our backs. So go ahead and have a blanket ready for Shavasana. We'll be coming into that pretty soon. So come on down, bend into the knees, rolling down onto the back, hugging the knees into the chest. We're going to keep the left knee into the chest. The right leg's going to come long on the mat. You're going to take the right arm underneath that left thigh. Left arm overhead on the mat behind you. So get a nice stretch from left fingers to right toes. Feel free to adjust that left hip either more into midline or out. Getting a nice little stretch here. The left arm is now going to come out to the side into a T shape. Right hand will come on the outside of that left thigh, taking a crossover stretch here for 3 full breaths. Feel free to take that gaze over the left shoulder. We'll go ahead and inhale back to center, both knees into the chest. This time we'll keep the right knee in, left leg will go long. Left arm underneath the right thigh, right arm overhead on the mat behind you. Adjusting that right thigh outward or more into midline for a nice opening through your hip. Nice stretch from right fingertips to left toes. And then we'll release the right arm out to the side into a T. Left on the outside of that right thigh, crossing over. center. Hugging the knees into the chest if there's any closing postures you would like to take, maybe a happy baby or anything you would like to take before Shavasana. And then we'll transition into Shavasana. So feel free to take a rolled blanket or towel underneath the knees, or maybe you just lay a blanket over the belly. Get comfortable on the mat. Arms down to the sides, palms facing up. Shoulder heads draw down and away, opening up through the chest. Feet are flappy. Jaws relaxed. I completely relinquish control. I sweetly surrender. Let the body melt into the mat. Shavasana. And please stay here in Shavasana as long as you'd like. If you're ready to move, just noticing the breath. Bringing some gentle movement to fingers and toes. Maybe rocking the head gently side to side. If it feels right, you can take a full body stretch. When you feel ready, you can place a bend into the knees, transitioning into a fetal position on either side. I'm just noticing here the effects of the practice. The body relaxed, the mind calm, and the spirit at peace. Knowing you can come here at any time just by connecting with your breath, especially lengthening out the exhale. Using the strength of the arms to make your way into a comfortable seat. Palms face up in the thighs in a receiving gesture. Just taking a few breaths here for quiet reflection and meditation, fully integrating our practice. Allow yourself to listen and receive. And then we'll draw our hands into heart center. It's always an honor and a pleasure to guide you through your practice. Thank you for sharing your beautiful presence with me. From the light within me, I honor and respect the light within you. Walk in grace and peace and shine bright, my friend. Much love and namaste. Again, my name is Heather Wiest, and feel free to stay in touch with me on my website, loveserveinspire.com.